Well, our very own dairy girl, Nadine Coyle, is a judge in a brand new television game show starting this weekend. It's on RTE1. You might have seen the ads for it by now. It's called Last Singer Standing, and we're joined by Nadine now to tell us more and everything else besides Nadine. Lovely to talk to you today.
Oh, lovely to talk to you. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. And here you go again, back in the business, keeping the show on the road, and a brand new TV show. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. You know, it really was a great experience to be able to come back and spend 3 weeks, filming it in Dublin, and with a great crew and everything. It was really a good time.
Because where were you for most of the last 18 months, without getting into the big scenario that we don't really want to talk about too much, namely the pandemic?
Yeah. I know, the unspeakable.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, what is happening?
I know.
The world is turned upside down and turned us all upside down with it. I was back and forth between, I was in London, I was actually working, I was doing a tour when it all happened, and it was terrifying to kind of be in a room because we didn't know how bad it was going to be really at the beginning. So you're kind of terrified of everybody, and suddenly you're thinking about sharing mics with people, and should you not do that, if you not touch it, and then you're thinking, if I've been sharing the same mic as people for all these years, so you're basically like kissing the people and mouth to mouth, like shutting down mics, and then you're like, what am I doing? And then we went back to London, and then we drove to Donegal. So 5 of us packed into the car and drove that lovely 13-hour journey from London to Donegal.
That is a long way. Did you lock down then in Ireland, or where did you kind of bunker down?
Yes, the most of the lockdown time was in Ireland. So we were all kind of back, everything, as you know, it's the same rules as in Dublin. It was, everything was just completely locked down. You couldn't, move for more than 5 kilometres, and no one could come into the house, and you couldn't leave unless it was essential stuff. So yeah, most of that was done there. And then my little girl had to go back to school when they reopened in London. So we had to come back for her to do that.
Yes.
Just mayhem.
Mayhem. I don't think I've talked to you since. It's been that long, in any meaningful sense, about being a mum. Are you enjoying it as much as I hope you would?
I am, of course, and I'm just so lucky because she's so relaxed, she's so laid back, so easygoing, nothing's at all her there. She's quite happy to, go here or go there, or she's just an absolute pleasure. I'm so lucky to have her.
Well, I mean, she's close to 7 or thereabouts now.
Yes, she's 7.
So it's not like the first days. I think when you become a parent for the first time, you're looking for the manual, and someone goes, "No, there's no manual. That's it. Good luck with that."
What do you mean there's no manual? You're like, seriously, there's children that have been born for all of these years and nobody's made a manual yet? What's wrong? I need this step by step. What is happening? I just called me mommy all the time. I was like, Mommy, can't do it. It's so hard.
And what she used to you? Did she help you out?
Oh, she was brilliant. And I was born in LA, so they were all over there. So yeah, they were all a great help.
And I was very impressed and pleased to see that while you're not with Anaya's dad, you kind of locked down together for a lot of it and kept the show on the road, which is rather impressive.
Jason and I are extremely close. We
Right.
are, we help, and Jason is obviously, one of the closest people to me in my life. So even when there's not a lockdown, Jason and I kind of hitched the wagons to one another a while ago, so we kind of come as a package deal with, with an eye and a lot of things. We all do it as a family.
It's a smart move. Everyone's winning. Everyone's winning there, Nadine. No doubt about it. With Last Singer Standing, this new show, I mean, it brings you back, doesn't it, in some ways, to reality TV, where it all started for you. Strangely, in Ireland, this is kind of like a closing of a circle in some ways, because when you think of pop stars and pop stars' rivals, and then Girls Aloud world, and then you're back then in Ireland working with Nicky Byrne and others. I mean, it's a touch of the circle completing.
It absolutely was, and it was the same production company, so they meet, they hang out with Larry again, and see people that I hadn't seen since I was a 16-year-old, and you've had all of these years in between. So it was actually really, really nice, and every so often jobs come along, and you think, wow, this was just how it was meant to be at the time, the situation you find yourself in and the circumstances. You know, I was really fortunate to be with those people at that time. It could have been a lot different. So it did, you know, it felt really good.
And the program itself, can you give us a sense of what we can expect? Because it sounds like a kind of mix of all the great quiz shows and TV shows in the last 10 years.
It is a great show. And again, with any show that you start, it's a brand new concept. You don't really know what you're getting yourself into. And by, you know, 5 months of the show, I was like, okay, this is great. This is so good. If I was on the show, I would be watching the show. It gives you that, you know, that perfect sense of you can look and you think, okay, I would do this or I would do this, because the singers that are there are all, you know, gigging talents. These are people that, you know, kind of do it, that are kind of, you know, getting paid to do it in whatever way they're doing it. So they know what they're doing. But the difference is whenever you're put up there on that stage with the lights, with the pressure, with a song that you might not know or a genre that you don't know, and you just have to sing it and you've got one shot to do it. There's something really exciting about that. Because you don't know what's going to happen.
And do you think, Nadine, that the way it's been judged, that is to say with you and the others that are part of the program, you're conscious that it's got to be a bit of a kinder, more positive place to be than, say, previous shows down through the years, which were always, could often be quite tough?
Yeah, you see, I don't like that. I don't like watching the shows that people are too tough or it's uncomfortable viewing. And that is, you know, in the position that I was in, it's difficult because you're there to voice your opinion. And mine was always to just think, okay, if that was me, to be, you know, to be constructive, you know, a way to make it maybe a bit easier to sing the song, or there was a guy in particular that held the mic really, really far away, so we could barely hear it. Sounded like he was doing a great job. So the next time I was like, just, you know, put the mic a bit closer, and it made a huge difference. So that was, I saw my role there to be, you know, I've been in that position. I know exactly what it's like to stand up and be sing for people and, you know, only have that moment to make it count. So I was able to be really, really kind of sympathetic and kind of help them out in whatever way I could.
I've been watching the Spice Girls documentary and recently about how they were treated in media circles. At one stage, weighing scales was produced in front of Victoria Beckham and was lashed, you know, step up and let's have a look at you. I was aghast, and I was just thinking, I don't know if you guys had the same problem with Girls Aloud, but it was a very, very heavy going, tough place to be.
It's, you know, it's a tough word. It really, really is. It, you know, definitely, it all looks glamorous, and there's a lot of stuff, you know, put under that they look that glamorous. That's taking, you know, maybe 5 hours of hair and makeup and, you know, weeks of styling and things, you know, put on you to get it to that level. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. It's almost like that, you know, that kind of swan mentality of it's supposed to look seamless, but underneath there's just, you know, chaos and you definitely, you know, people can run into, you know, some bad people and some uncomfortable situations.
You see, you're now mother of a beautiful young child, and you've got all this experience of being in a band and looking, when you see younger, if I may, you know, influencers and people online trying to make a name for themselves and trying to make their way in the world, do you kind of cast a cold eye over that and think, God, I hope they're okay, or they need to be a bit more careful, because it can be quite ruthless?
It can be quite ruthless. I mean, there's the whole new world of influencers and things like that, and you know, picture editing and heavy editing, and you know, there's definitely a toxic side to all of that, where we almost feel like people don't feel comfortable just being themselves. I don't know how long this is going to last for. Just, you know, God forbid, this is the way the world is from now on, and you know, people are afraid to be seen in real life without a filter on them. So I'm really hoping that it's just kind of a flash in the pan, and people start to be able to accept themselves and, you know, being able to feel more comfortable in their own skin without having to impress a bunch of strangers for likes, for, you know, whatever reason.
Nadine, I won't dwell on it, but I know that it's just over a month since your friend Sarah Harding passed away. How have you been?
You know, it's been awful. I have to say, I have to be honest with you, but it's been awful since she's been ill. So it feels like it's been kind of a really traumatic year and a half, or almost 2 years at this point now. And yeah, it's a cruel, cruel disease. I don't know, many people are suffering with it, and I wish everybody all the best. But we definitely lost a great one there.
I didn't know Sarah, but I was reading her messages about her. She sounded like somebody pretty special.
Oh, she's, unbelievable. I mean, Sarah, have been close and always remains close. And, we're a great support for each other and the band in years after.
I finished by commenting, if nothing else, on your message, which you posted saying, I'm thinking of you every day and trying to imagine how it's going for you, essentially. Please feel free to come and visit me anytime. I know lots of people want some Sarah spirit time, so I can wait my turn. Have you felt you got closer to her?
I mean, I was so close to her, in life, that it's difficult to kind of make that, that bridge. But there's definitely been things. She's definitely made her presence known a few times. And as I was shooting the show, it was right in the middle of it all. And people were so kind and so lovely. And I got, like my eyes started to swell. I started, my body just was rejecting what was happening. And everyone was so kind. But there was a couple of days when my headphones just flew across the table. And I was sitting getting my makeup done, and this happened 3 days in a row. For no reason, just flew across. And the girls' hair and makeup and everyone was saying, that has to be Sarah. There's no reason why they would fly so far. And then I was talking about her one night in my house, and something was flying off a shelf. And I was like, is this Sarah? Is she just like throwing stuff? So I'm kind of on that thing of it's so fresh. And I'm still thinking she's going to phone. I'm still on, that stage of it. And then stuff is flying around, and I'm like, could that be? So I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet.
I know, but do you know what? I wondered, do you take a strange comfort even from that, Nadine?
Oh, I do. I definitely, I mean, it's as funny as it is, and something goes flying across the room, and you just kind of look at it, and the hair and makeup girls were running, screaming. They were like, not again, I'm like, what's happening? And I was just kind of looking, I was like, maybe it could be. Could it be? And you just want, to send you a text and be like, yes, it's me, I just thrown your headphones at you or whatever.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm just definitely still in the processing stage of it.
Oh, you'll need plenty of time for it. And I think for a lot of people, jumping into work and staying busy can often be kind of a help in some ways.
I mean, it just was the way it was. It was the show was scheduled, everything was booked, everyone was there. There was no way that they could take a break for me to be able to kind of grieve or even digest it all or anything. So it was literally, straight back into work the next day, having to shoot everything for it, and everyone was just so kind and, so lovely, and was really patient with me, and, it was great. And that's what I said earlier about sometimes, Joel, if you just end up in a certain place for a certain reason. And I think that was a really great job with really great people that I ended up with at that time.
I'm glad to hear that, actually, and I think probably being home as well here in Ireland might have helped matters as well. You've got the Girls Aloud reunion has been postponed, obviously. And then, can I ask you about Bongo's Bingo Tour?
Yeah.
And the reason I want to ask you about that is, I think that as the pandemic comes to an end, and I think it's pretty much considered to be over in the UK, although the figures last night looked a little worrying, but that's for another day, is that things like Bongo's Bingo Tour it will be required because people want to let their hair down and kind of go hedonistically mad.
and that is the place to do it.
What is it? Describe
If you're
it.
looking to go absolutely mad, that is the place. Just fun. Go with your girls or guys or a group of people, or there's a huge mix from 18 to 80, just people that just want to have fun and just let loose. And I'm all up for that.
I think that's a post-war pandemonium. It's just exactly what the world needs. We had Samantha Mumba on the Late Late Show recently, and she's looking so well, and she's such a lovely human being. Yeah, she is. So I see she's working with you on Last Singer Standing with me.
Yeah.
So you're in good company there.
I'm in amazing company, such great company. And Samantha went on the Late Late with you, and then came out with me and Joey afterwards.
Proper. That's
me, Joey, and my mommy actually in line, so we had a good meeting.
That's the way to do it. Nadine, I hope to see you in slightly happier times. I know that the world can seem a little off balance at the moment, but mind yourself, won't you? Surround yourself with all those good people you've been talking about, and we'll see you soon, I hope. And good luck with the program and everything else.
Oh, brilliant! Thanks so much. Same way, look after yourself, and thanks for having me today.
Thanks for being with us. Nadine Coyle joining us on the program this morning. She's been talking, among other things, about the new show, which is, of course, on RTE1 this Saturday at 8:30, called Last Singer Standing. Always good to talk to Nadine.